What do you think of this? A wacky ploy or good idea? Mikel Arteta has revealed he plans to invite a team of RAF pilots to Arsenal to improve the way the players communicate. Speaking at the Lead Better, Live Better Summit 2025, Arteta said, "So the British fighter planes, for example, I will get in touch with those guys, how they communicate, because that is life or death. I'm sure they don't use 20 phrases or 20 words, but there is one word. So what is it? How specific can we be? How clear can we be?" And bring them, the pilots, in and say, "I want you to analyse our process, how we communicate, how we do that in training. I want to get better at this." Right, Jamie, your thoughts?
Well, do RAF pilots know how to defend? Do they know how to deal with a set piece? Do they know how to come for a cross? Do they know how to, tell your winger to tuck in?
But they know how to communicate.
I mean, yeah, all right, but all footballers know how to communicate. Surely they're Premier League football players. How hard is it to say, get in, tuck in, get tight, stop the cross, get back? I mean, keepers, away, clear it. I mean, these are phrases that have been around for 100 years. Don't tell me an RAF pilot's going to come in and rip it all up and say, "Oh, no, this is how you need to communicate." What are you talking about? RAF pilot is an incredible person who knows how to fly a plane.
What about...
He doesn't know how to defend a set piece.
But what about Arteta and the coaches getting their point across, maybe in the dressing room, etc., rather than just saying, "Get out" on the pitch?
Well, they're not saying just get out on the pitch, are they?
No, sorry, no, I meant, like, when you head the ball away, get out. I don't mean get out on the pitch.
What do you want them to say?
No, I'm saying...
What's the RAF pilot going to say?
No, I'm saying, could they help Arteta and his coaches get their points across when they're trying to train them on the training pitch?
I feel like I'm left...
I've explained it badly. I need an RAF pilot to come and help me communicate, maybe.
But I don't know.
When someone from the military, Army, RAF, Navy, when you talk to them, you do listen.
Yeah, all right. Well, that's leadership. That's just a leadership quality that they have and you respect because, they're in the military. But, I'm sure Arteta's got respect from his players. When he talks, they listen. I'm sure when the set-piece coach talks, they listen because they're good from set pieces. So, I don't understand. Look, I get why. I get it. People with authority, RAF pilots, incredible people. It can come in and, what is a communication skill? For me, it's just about, looking at someone, giving them information and taking it on board. And that player can listen and take that instruction on board. I think football's a very simple game for me. Players have relationships. And you learn each other's relationships. The manager has an identity. You listen to what he wants, and you go out. These are top players. These are top athletes. They know how to communicate because they're playing at the top level. Declan Rice knows how to communicate with Gabriel and Saliba. They know what to say to each other. So I don't know. I don't know. So is it a whole new thing that Arteta always look? We'll add 1% here, 1% there. And we get something from it. I mean, if it's going to make him feel better, then go for it. But
it's not just us, because the Monday Night Football team were discussing it last night as well. This is what they had to say.
What I've saw in Liverpool, a wee bit I've saw in Liverpool this year, and what I've saw in Arsenal. Arsenal look a stronger team. And the manager's been in there for a few years now. They've come second 3 times, I think, haven't they? I think this could be their year.
You've got a chance to change your mind if you want to.
No, I mean, I tip Liverpool for the league, but actually analysing the Premier League so far this season and how direct it's become, everybody with set pieces, we've highlighted Brentford going long. Every team's taking long throws. It's not just one team you come up against and you've got to deal with a long throw. Everybody's dealing with it. And actually, when you look at Arsenal's squad, they actually might be better equipped than Liverpool's squad to deal with the challenges of the Premier League this season.
Yes, they were quite clearly discussing the title race there. I told you I need the RAF in to talk to me. But a lot of people now, it's funny how this time last week and the week before, it was like, Liverpool are going to win it this season. But that one swing in one weekend, a lot of people are now saying it's Arsenal. What are you thinking?
Well, Arsenal are not the favourites. How can they be the favourites when Liverpool are the holders and have shown that over the last few seasons that they're the best team? Man City have won the Premier League 4 times over the last 5-6 years. So, how can Arsenal be favourites? When was the last time they won the Premier League?
Whose
2012.
squad's better?
Liverpool's.
And a better manager as well, in your opinion?
Well, yeah, because he's won the Premier League. Arteta's won the FA Cup. He's been there 5 years.
So why
Pep Guardiola's on another scale to Arteta. So why are we putting Arsenal as the favourites? They've got a good team.
Why are people?
They ain't done anything yet.
After just one weekend, people are saying Arsenal. Even
Because
though
they beat Newcastle. They scored in the 96th minute, and fair play. It's a great.
Liverpool beat them in the 90th.
No, it's a great. No, I'm saying it's an amazing win. It's a statement win, and it puts them, back amongst it to say, yeah, this is an Arsenal side where you go, we got to take them seriously. But everyone is taking them seriously. But they're not favourites. Liverpool are the champions. Liverpool are the best team. They showed that last season. Arsenal have signed some good players. They've improved the squad, but that doesn't make them favourites. Because there's a mentality of winners. Arteta ain't won nothing yet. He ain't won nothing. So until you put him as a Premier League winning manager, you can't make them favourites. They ain't won it. Liverpool have won it. Man City have won it.
Okay.
Simple as.
Right, we'll start with some big breaking news that you can see on the bottom of your screen. And it's great news for Arsenal because their centre-back, William Saliba, has signed a new contract. We understand it is a new 5-year deal. Reported last week that Saliba had agreed a new contract at Arsenal, but now it is done and dusted and signed. Fantastic news for Arsenal. Right, Jamie O'Hara, good morning to you. Given this breaking news, let's ask you about that. Now, we know that Real Madrid were interested in Saliba, one of the biggest clubs in the world, and he's chosen to stay at Arsenal, which is great news for them. Why has he chosen to stay at Arsenal?
Well, I think it's a brilliant football club that he's loved there. The manager loves him. The fans love him. He's playing some great football. He feels a part of something special, and he's got a brilliant relationship with Gabriel alongside him, and it just fits. Arsenal's a huge football club, and he's done amazing since he's been at the football club himself, and he's grown from strength to strength. And I think it's a good place to be playing your football. He is top draw. He is one of the best centre-halves in the world, and the partnership they've got together is, we talk about it as probably being one of the best in the world, if not the best. So, you can see why he signed a 5-year deal. Well done. Yes,
we've bored everybody with our argument about who's the best centre-back pairing.
Van de Ven and Romero.
Yes, you've made that point very clear. But in terms of the best single centre-back in the Premier League, where does Saliba rank?
I would probably say second.
To Van Dijk?
To Van Dijk. I think, Van Dijk, for me, is just the standout performer. People can dig him out sometimes, but I just think he's just an unbelievable football player. Feels like he's playing in second gear. Saliba's, for me, probably in there as well as, a close second. He is top draw. He's good on the ball. He's composure. Doesn't make too many mistakes. He's quick. He can get himself out of trouble. He's a leader on the football pitch. He is, for me, he's a world-class centre-half.
Manchester United still have not managed to collect back-to-back victories under Ruben Amorim. Of the 17 ever-present Premier League teams since he was appointed, Manchester United rank 15th. They've picked up 1 point more than Tottenham, and they are level on points with the next worst, West Ham United, who have got an extra game which comes tonight. Then come Wolves. The other point to make is that Wolves have changed their manager, West Ham have changed their manager, Tottenham have changed their manager as well, and then a big gap to Fulham and Everton. So that's the context of his performance as Manchester United manager. And then you look how he's compared with other Manchester United managers since Sir Alex Ferguson was in charge. And many of these haven't been considered successful, but look at the start that he's made. From those first 33 games, we almost need another screen to put him on. The margins are absolutely huge, which is why there is so much concern, it feels right now, amongst Manchester United supporters. And here's another one, and this is for even wider context. When you talk about other managers in Premier League history who've been given 33 games and having been appointed in existing Premier League clubs, there aren't actually that many. So we've taken out promoted managers. There aren't many who've performed like this. And at the bottom of that list is Steve Keane with Blackburn, 29 points. Roberto Martinez with Wigan. I think this is relevant as well. The clubs they've been in charge of: Dave Merrington at Southampton, Egil Olsen, the Norwegian. You'll remember at Wimbledon, Ozzy Ardiles didn't have a great start at Spurs either. I think, Duncan, you were involved.
I was involved in the 98, 99 one. To be fair, I think I got sold then. I got sold to Newcastle around about 1998, if I remember right.
So of those managers who've been appointed to existing Premier League clubs, he is one of the worst over this time period.
Yeah.
Do you think that the club is particularly relevant here?
Absolutely. I mean, you're talking about Man United, one of the biggest clubs in the world. Let's be fair, he's a lucky boy still to be in a job. I think he's got a bit of credit on what he did last year, coming to Man United when they were struggling a wee bit. So he came last year. He didn't really want to come last season. So I think they've given him a wee bit of credit in the bank there. But look, for a team like Man United to be, you see the stats there. The stats are for there, they always see. So he's very lucky to stay in his job. But hopefully he gets another few games. You know what I mean? Because we always want the managers to stay in their jobs and be successful. But it's not good enough, is it?
Well, it's Sunderland next, and then it's the international break. Why do you think he is still in a job?
I think he's still in a job because I think the powers that be and Manchester United have made that many mistakes so far in decisions that they've made on and off the pitch that they almost don't want to admit right now that they've made another. And this has been a disaster for Manchester United, but also Ruben Amorim. What he did at Sporting Lisbon was fantastic. You know, he looked like the next big thing as a manager, but bringing a manager like that in terms of the system that he played, I don't think ever really suited the club of the traditions of Manchester United. And the quicker Manchester United make the decision on the manager, I think it's better for everybody, because as I said, it's been a disaster for club, but also the manager. And we're only waiting for the inevitable, I think. Unfortunately, as Duncan's just said, you don't want to see people lose their jobs, but this has to end as quickly as possible.
Is that group of players better than it is looking?
I think so. I think they are. But I think maybe it's the system. You know, everybody talks about the system a lot, doesn't he? He's not changed the system at all. He's not trying to find a way. When you're losing games, you've got to find a way to win. You just can't keep on going out with the same system all the time. So you need to try and find a way to win. And he's never done that. He's stuck to the same system. He needs to change it a little bit. Maybe going to a back four. Go back more traditional Manchester United. But to be fair, when they recruited them into play this formation.
100%.
They knew what they were getting.
They knew what they were getting. They wanted that formation. They wanted that style of play, and they've got that.
I think you're right. I'm big on that. I mean, I've never been one of them saying he has to change his system. A lot of managers speak and say, I've got a certain the system might change, but my style doesn't. His baby is his system. It's like asking Jurgen Klopp not to press or Pep Guardiola not to play short passes through the middle of the pitch. This is what he is. That's on Barada or Jason Wilcox or Jim Ratcliffe. They brought him in. Talking about him changing centre-backs, a stat came out that he changed in his 49 games, 42 times he's changed the back three. He did that at Sporting Lisbon. You knew that when he came in, the powers that be. So that's the big problem there. But the problem, I think, when you look at Ruben Amorim, I think every other Premier League manager would look at Manchester United and think, I could do a better job than that. And the only positive for Manchester United is they haven't gone all in on his system. They've gone all in on him in terms of giving money to spend, but they haven't brought lots of centre-backs. They haven't brought lots of wing-backs. The players they brought in the summer can easily be flipped into a back four, getting Bruno Fernandes as the number 10, Brian Mbeumo right wing, maybe Cunha to the left, Sesko up front. And I think a competent football manager could get that Manchester United team in that system to the European places, or certainly fighting for them.
We asked our fans, again, on the Analyses app, those verified Manchester United fans, to answer this question on whether he should be given more time. And actually 46% still say, yes, he should. How does this play out, Duncan, if he continues to play the same way, the same tactics?
Well, he's hoping that the results are going to change, aren't they? But look, these records suggest that they're not going to change. So unfortunately, if he doesn't get the results, he's going to lose his job, isn't he? It's as simple as that. He's going to lose his jobs. I think the 46% of them are Liverpool fans there. I just got that in there.
I can tell you they're not. They're all verified Manchester United fans. And I suppose this is something about Manchester United. They do like to stick with a manager, don't they?
Listen, there has been a lot of change. We've just highlighted some of those managers, but it wasn't a case where the club were changing managers every 6 months or 12 months. A lot of those managers that we looked at there, Jose, Louis van Gaal, even Ollie, you're talking 2 or 3 years, and I think that's a decent enough amount of time for a manager. But Ruben Amorim's probably not been in the job for 12 months yet, but it could couldn't have gone any worse. And I feel for him, he's a young manager, he's had a great start in his managerial career. What he did was really special at Sporting Lisbon. But those results for a club of that stature is just beyond belief. And as I said, you don't want to see anybody lose the job, but I think it's just better for everybody if they shake hands and move on.
Every word Mikel Arteta said about Arsenal's victory over Newcastle, Gabriel's handball, Arsenal's goal, and that late penalty decision. Mikel Arteta faced the media after Arsenal's hard-fought win over Newcastle United in the Premier League. It took 2 late goals, from Mikel Merino and Gabriel Magalhaes, to seal the victory, ending a tough run of results at St James Park and bringing the Gunners within 2 points of Liverpool. After a frustrating penalty decision was overturned and a goal from Nick Woltemade was confirmed, it seemed like time was running out. But Arsenal dug deep and delivered a dramatic, yet well-deserved win when it mattered most. Arteta was full of pride and emotion after the final whistle, praising his players' mentality and resilience. How does it feel to finally get the result you deserved, especially after recent games where you dominated but didn't come away with the win? It's an unbelievable feeling. This is what football is all about. When a team gets what it truly deserves at the end, there's no better reward. We've been on the wrong side of these moments too many times. Today, we earned every bit of that result. When VAR was checking Gabriel's moment in the box near the end, what was going through your mind? Well, I saw it live and it looked pretty clear and quick to me, so I didn't think they'd overturn anything. But with what happened in the first half with the penalty decision, I honestly wasn't sure. Regardless, I'm extremely proud of the team, how we played, how we competed, how we responded to really tough moments and still found a way to win. With so many highs and lows in a match like that, how do you even begin to analyze what really happened out there? You have to accept that this is the type of game you have to play in this league. Some things are unpredictable, lineups, formations, but others are crystal clear. You need to fight, stay composed, and take your chances. From start to finish, we did exactly that. And beyond that, we added quality, real quality, throughout the pitch. Mentally, what did a performance like that mean for your players after everything they've faced this season? We talked about needing to learn from the past if we want to reach the next level. We've had tough moments here before, and today was another chance to show what we've learned. This was a big game, in a crucial week for the Premier League. After the adversity we faced earlier this season, we showed exactly who we are and who we want to be. What was your take on the Gioca's penalty decision? And how impressed were you with how the team responded? I watched it live and again on the big screen, and for me, that's a penalty. We've been told clearly this season that unless it's a clear and obvious error, VAR won't intervene. That wasn't the case here. But again, the key is how we reacted. The team stayed calm, composed, and emotionally in control. That's something we've learned from past experiences. With Liverpool dropping points yesterday, did that add pressure or motivation for today's result? Of course, there are key moments in a season where the opportunity is right there. Yesterday was one of those. And we had to come here, to one of the hardest places to play, and get the job done. That shows what this team is made of. Your substitutes made a massive impact again. That seems to be a recurring theme lately. How important is that? Massive. We knew we'd need fresh legs and different solutions as the game went on. Every player who came on today contributed in a big way. Martin came in and was a threat from the first minute. Saliba stepped in at half-time and was outstanding. Martin, Degaard, was coming back from a long spell out and still managed to deliver 2 assists. And Mikel Merino gave us the moment we needed most. That's what you want from your bench, game changers. There was a bit of a moment between Gabriel and Woltemade after the goal. Did you see what happened there? No, I didn't catch that, sorry. Finally, do you feel like this result helped silence some of the criticism you and your team faced last week? I don't know about silencing critics, but what I do know is we faced Manchester City and Newcastle, 2 of the toughest teams in the league, and I believe we were exceptional in both games. That's my opinion, and I think it's pretty clear. Aftermath and implications of Arsenal's victory over Newcastle. The final whistle brought a mix of relief and celebration for Arsenal. Players embraced with visible emotion, fully aware of how significant this result could be, not just in terms of points, but in terms of belief. For Newcastle, however, the mood was very different. What had looked like a match under control ended in disappointment, frustration, and questions, tightening the title race. With Liverpool failing to secure all 3 points earlier in the weekend, Arsenal's late win pulled them within 2 points of the top of the table. It was a massive result in a weekend that could have widened the gap. Instead, it reopened the title race and reminded everyone that Arsenal remain firmly in the fight. This win also boosts Arsenal's confidence heading into the crucial next stretch of fixtures. In a season where momentum is everything, pulling off a comeback like this, away from home, in a high-pressure situation, sends a message to their rivals: they are not going anywhere. Newcastle's struggles continue. On the other side, Newcastle are left to reflect on yet another match where they couldn't hold on to a lead. Their performance, though solid in spells, was ultimately not enough. Defensive lapses in the final moments, combined with missed chances earlier, proved costly. To make matters worse, they suffered a potential injury to Tino Livramento, whose early exit raised serious concern on the bench. The defeat leaves Newcastle slipping further away from the top four conversation, and with key fixtures ahead, questions are beginning to mount about consistency and squad depth. VAR controversy and Gabriel's incident. The match was also marked by officiating controversy. One key moment came when Arsenal appealed for a penalty after Victor Gyökeres was brought down in the box, only for the decision to be overturned after a lengthy VAR check. Mikel Arteta expressed his disappointment post-match, stating he believed it was a penalty and that the threshold for overturning decisions should remain consistent. Another flashpoint came after Gabriel Magalhaes scored and appeared to have a heated exchange with Nick Woltemade. The incident raised eyebrows, though nothing was officially reported by the officials after the game. It did, however, reflect the emotional intensity of the match, particularly in those final few minutes. Breaking the St. James Park curse. St. James Park has never been a particularly kind place for Arteta. In the past, both as a player and manager, he's endured difficult moments here. Last season's loss in this stadium was a turning point in Arsenal's title collapse, and those scars were still visible in his cautious tone pre-match. This time, however, his team showed character, maturity, and control. To come from behind and win in such a difficult environment marks a milestone for this group. It's not just another 3 points. It's a psychological breakthrough. The importance of squad depth. One of the most defining aspects of the match was the impact of Arsenal's bench. Substitutes made the difference. Martin Degaard, returning from injury, brought calm and vision. William Saliba, introduced at half-time, stabilized the defense. And Mikel Merino provided a presence in the box that eventually resulted in the equalizer. Arteta praised his players not just for their talent but for their attitude. The substitutes were fully focused and ready to change the game, and they did. In a long campaign where every point matters, having a reliable and impactful bench could be the difference between second place and the title. A shift in momentum. This win could mark a turning point. Not only has it allowed Arsenal to close the gap at the top, but it also helped bury some of the ghosts of past collapses. Arteta's team is proving that it can handle pressure, respond to setbacks, and remain composed under fire. For Newcastle, the road ahead looks more uncertain. Injuries, tactical inconsistencies, and emotional responses to key moments are beginning to weigh heavily. How they respond in the next few weeks will determine whether they can stay competitive or slip further off the pace.